what's up, everybody? Welcome to this episode of the B3 podcast. I'm your host, Brett. I got Chris, the artist formerly known as Heavy C. I got multiple injuries, Matt. And we got Coach Derek still here from our last podcast. Just hanging out, going to give his wise
formerly
words.
Known as Coach X.
Formerly known as Coach X.
Here to talk shit.
Whoa.
That's the whole point.
Yeah.
What I'm saying.
We have our show partners, Elite Nutrition. Check them out at EliteNutritionOmaha.com. Use code B3 at checkout. Go to the stores in Omaha or Lincoln and yell B3.
Get a free shaker.
Yes, Tanner's not here, so we don't have to hear him say it.
Well, finally we got a replacement for Tanner. It's been a long time in the works. I'm glad we finally pulled the trigger on it.
That's the worst.
Been a lot of interviews, a lot of ups and downs.
Yeah.
The problem is, I think my head is the same size as Tanner's.
That is not,
You don't think
not
so?
true. No, not even a little bit.
I don't
He
think
casts a shadow.
he can't wear regular. He can't wear regular hats.
I mean, we had to get our cowboy hats stretched, like stretch.
No, we did, but he can't. That hat you're wearing, he can't wear.
Oh,
No. There's like a fucking advisory that goes out when Tanner leaves the house from his county. They're
Wow.
Like, hey, Tanner's outside, so if you're trying to get some sun on that side of town today.
that's actually impressive.
Yeah, like when he looks
Yeah.
up, like on the Weather Channel app, and it shows UV, it changes when he looks it up.
Because he's the U.
No, he just blocks it all, so you're safe. UV behind Tanner,
Satellite
10.
companies
UV
have-
behind in front of Tanner, 0.
Satellite companies have called him and be like, can you please walk 10 feet left?
Right.
He gets free DirecTV just to stay out of the way.
Yeah.
We also have Rosewood Block. They make the best cutting boards and barbecue. Check them out at rosewoodblock.com. Use code B3 at checkout for 10% off there as well. We're going to talk about speed work in training. Speed work can be anything from plyometrics to squatting with bands or chains, being explosive, benching with bands and chains, throwing, any kinds of those things. I was talking with someone the other day, and they didn't seem to think it was really that important. But I think your speed strength is based, your absolute strength is based off your speed strength. I believe that anyway. I don't know what you think
I
about
think
it.
speed's way more important than I personally think. Your strength is.
I've always
I
said-
think speed's just as important as strength, if not a little bit more important. I think.
I've always,
Even if you think they're separate, how do you not think that speed is important?
well, I would say strength is the ultimate equalizer, but speed is king.
Sure.
Because everyone has a sticking point or a mini max, and that doesn't even have to do with lifting. Let's say you're a sprinter. There's the speed barrier, whereas as fast as you're going to run. But as you get stronger and more explosive, you can change where that speed barrier is. So you're never going to, like Louis Simmons always said, you're never going to move a heavy weight slow because you'll never finish the lift. So to me, if you want to get past a sticking point, or that's why Westside always did speed work, a sticking point or a mini max, whatever you want to call it, you have to be fast enough to get past it because strength is measured in time, not in pounds.
I mean, look at it this way: Mike Tyson's probably pretty strong in his prime, right? I don't know. He probably wasn't putting up like bench numbers or anything, but he was very explosive, very powerful. Now, as strong as he was, if you diminished his speed by 50%, do you think he would have had the same knockout power as he had all those times when he was dropping people like he was when his prime?
50% is a lot.
Well, okay, let's say 20%, 10%. I bet it still wouldn't even be the same that it would be if his speed was up there like it was, because he was very fast, and that's what made him so dangerous. Same thing if you're super strong. Oh, yeah, well, you could move something very slow, but that explosiveness needs to come along with the strength. Otherwise, you're just like a big old rock.
And even like speed is king. Like when we play in a golf tournament every year, and one of the guys, he's obviously carries the team. It's a scramble. Because I am not good, but I am tremendously stronger than him. But his technique and his speed on his swing is, it's ridiculous.
Like, look at, okay, another example.
In baseball,
for fighting.
same way. You can
John
be-
Jones, pretty fast. Probably not that strong. I mean, he's probably pretty strong also. But if you look at him, he's very unassuming, and you're like, oh, this guy's not, you know. And then all of a sudden you're looking up from, oh, I guess this is went a lot different than I thought it was going to go.
Is
Right.
power force times velocity squared? Is that what it is? No.
Force is mass times acceleration.
What's the velocity squared? Velocity. Is that acceleration velocity squared?
I think so.
Right. So I mean, even if you break that in, like velocity in the in the brute force of physics, velocity is a squared component. So whether you're strong or not, like if you move like one unit increase for strength, if you will, versus 1 unit or 2 units increased for velocity is better. To your point, like so the faster you can move, the more power you can generate.
And the more, obviously, the more power
Yeah.
/ force.
Yeah, and carrying along with the longevity theme of this year, like looking at it over years and decades, and like not only staying alive but having a higher quality of life. I think these numbers are approximate. I don't remember the exact numbers, but every decade after 40, your essentially like your strength goes down by, I think it's somewhere in the neighborhood of like 4 to 6%. Power goes down by, call it 6 to 8, 6 to 10, but your speed goes down by like 12 to 15 every year. So like speed is super hard to keep as you age. So training that earlier and frequently, the higher your speed ability when you're younger, you're going to lose some percentage of that as you age. So your higher starting point, call it before you hit 40, the better off you're going to be. Like you're going to be a more functional human being training that speed component than if you just were like, hey, I'm just going to go in and do bro weights. I mean, again, bro weights are super cool, but like training that speed vector, jumping, doing stuff explosively, keep that as part of your training protocol will have big carry forward for quality of life.
Force and velocity equals power is the Newton's second law. So, yeah. So it's basically on the same level as strength.
And now by speed, that doesn't mean like to train speed. I'm not saying you have to go out and run wind sprints all day.
Yeah, but that's, I think, for the speed strength, right? That's what you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's your ability to apply speed under load.
Yes.
Like just running a sprint makes you fast, but can you do that while you're hooked to a sled with a parachute, carrying some load?
Yeah. Because as you said, as your speed goes up, your absolute strength will increase. Because like I said, strength is measured in time, not in pounds. You only have so much time to exert maximal force.
Yep.
Before. So if you hit that sticking point and you're out of time, fucking game over. But that's where pulling in the bands and the chains, like when you're lifting with chains, you're basically trying to outrun the chains. Mentally is what you're trying to do, whether you're squatting, benching, deadlifting. They come down to the ground, they fully deload. When you explode up, you're trying to outrun the chains as fast as they can. But you're also training the strength curve because as you get in a more positive leverage position, the weights will be lighter.
Yeah.
So by adding the chain incrementally, it will make you stronger all the way through the strength curve. But then bands came along.
They're the worst. I mean, they're the best, but they're so much harder.
And now you're talking about, because then you bring in like an overspeed eccentric, bands will pull you down faster than the speed of gravity, which is what, 9.3 meters per second or whatever. Mm-hmm. It'll pull you faster down than the speed of gravity. You want to be controlled. And that's where like box squatting came into play also because, and we're going to do some videos, because squatting to a box and box squatting are two different things. Squatting and touching to a box is fine, but you're kind of finding a depth. You're maybe sitting back a little more. It makes you feel comfortable. It's a great way to teach people to squat. But actual box squatting, you're sitting back, you're sitting in the box, you're on the box for a half a second or to a second or whatever, and then you're exploding back up.
Basically, you're relieving all tension. You're not just touching and going.
Yeah, you're staying tight, but you're
it's
sitting
the
on the
same kind of
box.
principle when you deadlift touching and going, right?
Yep.
It's the same principle. Like
Same
touch and
idea.
goes are a lot easier, but if you drop the bar all the way and then restart your lift, it's a whole different lift. Same with the box squats.
Yeah. So then you throw the bands on there, you come down faster than the speed of gravity, you're on the box. Well, energy can't be destroyed. So to an extent, some of it disperses into the box. The rest of it's stored in your tendons and ligaments for reversal strength. So you can build a tremendous amount of reversal strength coming out, which will build you faster coming out of the hole. Which also, as you get faster with that, your absolute strength goes up, which increases your sprint speed. Same thing with like benching with bands or any of that stuff, or just even if you don't have bands, whatever. But the faster you can do that and overcome force, if you're a thrower, that throwing ability will increase.
I think we got to throw a disclaimer in there. Be careful with the bands if you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah, do not go crazy and get destroyed by bands.
Because if you don't know what you're doing,
Just grab some of those average bands, throw them on the bench,
because
get out.
you'll get stapled.
Yes. And
and it won't
other thing
be
with bands is
comfortable.
make sure that the apparatus you hook the bands to is not going to flip over if you put bands on that. Make sure it is.
Like the pegs on a monolift.
Yes, either ask someone if this monolift is going to be secure, or you
Nope.
can usually just set something as simple as like some kettlebells on the monolift.
Right, and you only need like if you put 80 pounds on there, like you don't need to put if you have a 150 pound band, you generally don't have to put 200 pounds on the actual mono.
Yeah. But yeah, you're learning how to use those
The
things.
number of times that mono's almost fucking. I'm sure
It's
someone
flipped
dumped
over
it,
once.
right? Yeah.
Some guy fucking just launched it. And then looks around like it's the monolift's fault.
I can't
Who
believe
did
what
that?
a piece of shit this thing is.
Can't believe this fucking monolift flipped over. You fucking believe it?
Man, I thought gravity was way stronger.
Yeah. But yeah, I think speed is highly underrated by a lot of people.
I think when you use bands, I feel like people get confused with the purpose of using bands. Like you're using bands because you're trying to build that speed strength, but I think a lot of people use it where it's too heavy.
Yes, too much.
You're going slow.
Yeah. You still need to move fast. It's like what did Louis say? You can't throw a wiffle ball through a window no matter how hard you throw it.
Right. So you need like it's a good balance of having you have to have enough weight on there to be challenging, but it shouldn't be like max effort, slow grind.
Like
It's
when
not
you're
gonna-
doing
it's not going to feel fast, but you should perceive it as you're trying to
Yes.
move fast.
You want
not
to move
like
as
you're
fast as you
yeah.
can.
I mean, the original idea was when you squatted, you could do 2 reps of speed squats in the same time it would take you to do 1 max effort rep.
Mm-hmm.
And bench was 3 reps in the same time it would
Yep.
take you to do 3 max effort reps to build that reversal. And even if you don't have bands, you don't have a squat bar, you don't have any of these things, you can do it with dumbbells doing box jumps. You can squat with a dumbbell and then drop the dumbbell and explode up and jump. You can jump with the dumbbells and just try to overspeed that. You can jump just straight up. You can do box jumps. You can do bounding. There's other ways to build speed and explosiveness. Like there's a lot of, like Westside used to use the Tendo system all the time that would measure your bar. There's some other ones out there. There used to be this thing called the Power Factor. I had one of those for quite a while. And basically it was a cable you'd hook around the bar and it would tell you how many watts of power you created, how fast you're moving the bar. And your bar speed should be almost 3 feet per second when you're doing that. If it's whatever it is, or a meter, was it 3.3 feet in a meter or something like that?
Roughly, yeah.
Yeah. So even if it's so many meters per, you can figure all that out. And if you're moving slower than that, you need to lower the weight. If you're moving faster than that, you need to add weight. And then after a while, you kind of know. I remember when I was out at Westside, there's a guy out there, I think he was deadlifting, and his coach was out there, and he's like, What do you think? What do you think, Louis? We need to hook the tendo unit up? And Louis like, no, I can look at him and tell you he's too slow. But he's also been doing it for like 70 years.
Right. But I think
you
most people you don't need that. Like you can feel like, wow, that was fucking slow.
Yeah.
Or that was fast. Like if you're benching, I think bench is the easiest one to measure, because if you're able to explode up, and it's one of those things where like as you come to the top, you can hear the plates like pop because you're going too fast, so the plates like jiggle on the collar, then you don't have enough band tension. But if it's a fucking grind and you're just like, oh god, like too fucking slow.
I always said like my setup on bench and squat should probably be longer than it takes to complete the speed reps. Mm-hmm. Like by the time you get set up and dug in on a bench, or you get your back, everything set up on a squat, once you go, it should be pretty fucking quick.
Mm-hmm. I think on the bench, the hardest part for that was always like controlling the down, because you, like you said, you want to stay tight. Because if you don't stay tight and you let that shit come down, now you're trying to catch an over accelerated bar.
And you can move fast. You can move fast
Yeah.
on the down because I'm a fast descender.
Yeah, you can move fast, but it feels at the top it feels super heavy. So
Yes.
like
I would say fast, but in control.
right, that's the key, is to be in control. Because if you think about how a lot of people bench, they get up here and they don't control the down. They want to go fast, so they relax and let gravity push the bar down. And if you have, I don't know, say you got 300 pounds on the bar, and it's just coming down at gravity speed, and now you have to stop some percentage of it, half of it, a quarter of it, reverse it, press it up. That is going to be substantially less force applied to you than if you have bands on there. So if you have 300 pounds at the top and 100 of that is band tension, on that way down, when it hits you,
You're gonna have like
it's gonna
225 to
feel-
250.
It's going to feel way more than the bar weight at the bottom, because you have the bar weight plus that over accelerated gravity speed. And so it's really fucking hard on your joints
Yeah.
and tendons.
Yeah, it's controlled speed. Was it loose is fast and on the edge of out of control?
Days of Thunder.
Little Days of Thunder.
The same. Can't get a movie quote past me. Watch out there.
Watch out, man.
Yeah, what are you
What's
guys
going on?
doing?
Ain't playing.
Just fucking footing everything.
Easy. We got a
Jeez.
5-gallon bucket under here holding this thing, so let's fucking.
Lose audio on
I
that.
was the poop boot. That's fine.
Same thing with the bench on the touch and go, though. If you slight pause at the bottom, same thing with like box squats and then with your deadlifts and the touch and go. You know,
Let the
whole
bar
different-
come down, touch your spine through your chest.
Yeah.
Get after it.
Well, this thing is, it's the same thing
Don't
when you're
heave the bar either.
when you're doing speed work. You're not trying to cave your chest in. Just the same thing as on squats. You're not trying to shove your fucking tailbone through your brains. Like it's a controlled. You shouldn't like slam into the box. If anybody's ever like box squat with me doing speed work, it is not slamming into the box. It's very up and down quick. You should be done. And they used to do it like every 30 seconds or something like that,
Yeah.
every minute on the minute. You just go in for 12 sets.
I think for bench,
and I've done that before, and it is awful.
I think a 3-person rotation for squat, a 2-person rotation for bench.
And it is,
like a
you're like
good
dying.
tempo.
I remember
Yeah.
just laying on the floor afterwards
Yeah.
because you're doing like 24 reps in like 12 minutes,
Yeah.
basically. Mm-hmm. And that's with whatever percentage. So it'd like 50% plus another 25% of bands. And the 25% of bands is measured off the bottom, not the top.
Yep.
So 25% of your max at the box, which at the top is probably 50%.
What do you think, Derek?
Fuck yeah, bro.
You bet.
Yeah.
You bet.
That's it.
Derek's like that. He probably trains like that old guy in the video. He's got the 20-pound barbell. He's picking it up like he's shooting. And he puts it back down. He puts it up like he's shooting. And just keeps doing it reps. And I was like, hey, you know what? Somebody made a video, and I was like, bro, that guy probably hunts.
You know what? If it builds consistency, I don't care.
Right. Yeah, that's fine.
He probably hunts. And dude, those guys that carry like those snipers that carry those Barretts around.
Yeah.
You imagine to lug in one of those things around. That fucking thing weighs like 28 pounds, I think.
I mean, some of those long range sniper rifles are 23.
It's like 28 pounds, and that's with an empty magazine.
You got to do your max effort noise when you deploy it.
Right when you shoot.
Take it.
But yeah, I mean, but yeah, seeing those people do it. But yeah, speed is just as important as absolute strength. Always as important. No matter what you're doing. If your absolute strength goes up and you're training your speed correctly, they should coincide with each other.
Because, I mean, Louis cited a bunch of times that he worked with sprinters.
He's like, I never ran them.
They never ran. They just used bands and got jacked, and they got faster.
And it's as your speed increases, your absolute should increase. And when your absolute increases, your repetition should increase. Mm-hmm. Like, I remember when I could like consistently bench like 400, 410. It'd be those times you mess around like, hey, let's see how many times you can bench 225. And I am not a repper, but you would still bench 225 for 20 plus times. But I've never,
35.
I would never do it. You know, one time we did the bar for 150 reps. Do you know how bad your hands go to sleep?
Dude. Well, we did deadlift, like 225 for like 25 or 30 because of fucking Stan Efforting. That was terrible.
Yeah.
Fucking miserable. Stan Efforting was talking about
He
doing
never
this rep
remembers
stuff.
Brett's name, so you got to say who.
No.
Yeah.
yeah.
Fucking guy. Matt was with me that time. He didn't recognize me.
He knew who I was, though.
Hey, Biggs.
No, he didn't. Yeah, that's all he said. Hey, Biggs, how you doing? Shut the fuck up. You don't know who I am.
Shut up, bro.
Go back to Samoa. I think he moved to Samoa.
For
Well, he
some
lived in
reason, YouTube-
California. I mean,
No, he
what-
moved. His wife is
Well,
from...
I'm saying he lived in California. He had to get out of, you know.
No, he lived in Vegas.
Did he? I think he lived in Cal- Did he
No,
live
he
in
lived
Vegas?
in Vegas. But I think he just, because his wife's Samoan, I think he just recently moved to Samoa. He's probably a king there. Because fucking Stan's
He's
got
like
money, dude.
disappeared, hasn't he? I haven't really seen him.
Dude, he lives in Samoa.
Well, I'm saying,
I think
they
he
don't
just
have
took his-
fucking internet in Samoa.
He
They
might
can't-
not.
No, I think he rode the peak for the vertical diet book.
And then he
sales and
just
the tour and
dipped
stuff,
out,
and was like,
right?
I'm out, bud.
Yeah.
Well, he had just like,
Created
shortly after
the
that, he
whole
bought like a
monster
mansion
mash.
in like Vegas he was going to redo. And then like all of a sudden Ed's like, yeah, he's moving to Samoa.
I guess Mike O'Hearn did win then, huh?
Mike O'Tren.
He's natural. You shut your mouth.
It's
What-
so crazy.
what is that?
He's
I-
like 60. You
Na-
look at him and I'm like,
naturally made steroids.
I'm a big Stan Efforting fan. I liked it. I've
Yeah,
always
Stan,
liked-
whenever
I've
he's
always liked
around, he was
Stan.
always nice.
Yeah.
For
I-
sure.
But yeah, when Matt and
I've
I
never
were,
been
where were
a
we at? Was that at the
Mike
That
Arnold?
was with the Arnold, yeah. Because
And I was like, Stan,
there.
he was-
that
dude, yeah,
summer,
literally.
in like October.
Stan, what's up? Hey.
No, nothing.
Brett,
Nothing.
Brett
I gave
definitely-
you money to
I
come
know,
to
like,
my
I
gym.
Get, I get if you don't remember me. Like I get that, but like this guy paid you something. Like
Brett blends it in a crowd.
I gave you money. I fucking put you up in a hotel. I took you to multiple fucking meals, and you have no idea.
he was like big on the trying to pimp Monster Mash when he came through because I remember he had all those
Yeah.
little Tupperware things, and he was microwaving. He's like, "Oh, this stuff's so good." I'm like, "Listen, motherfucker, I've had that. It's okay.
Yeah.
It's hamburger, rice, and chicken."
It's. I mean,
broth.
it's
Like,
a meal. It's a meal.
It is
It's a
food.
meal. It's
It
a
is
meal.
food.
I'm not like looking forward to it. Like, oh man, I can't wait Saturday, man. It's Monster Mash Day. I'm so excited. No,
Yeah.
let's not.
I mean, I met Louis like 3 times and he didn't remember me, but Louis is also like 1,000,000 years old and I'm a nobody. And I didn't pay him to
and
be
he
there.
can sleep 27 minutes at a time. So
Yeah. And I actually trained with him that one day.
Listen, I always bring this up because it's funny, and Brett was so mad. I'll never forget how mad he was, and I was like, "Oh man, Stan, everything was here. I had to work or something, and I couldn't come." And he's like, "Yeah, whatever," because it was after he was here, and then you went to the meet, and then you told me that story, and I was like, "Yeah, that sucks."
no,
Yeah, that's pretty funny.
When he's here, he's super nice though.
Yeah, he's got memory
best was
of
when he
a
warm-up.
goldfish.
I loved winning warm-ups show up and just shit all over your book.
Oh yeah. Fucking whatever. Matt went in. Strength training is not simple, okay?
Yeah, if you use a linear program, like that's just trash. It's not going to work. You got to use changes.
Which is funny too, because Ed's sitting right there and fucking Ed did linear. And then he's
Right?
like, this gym I used to go to. Yeah, Westside, dude. We all fucking
Yeah,
know
you
where
can
you train.
say it.
Yeah, why wouldn't he say it?
Because he got
He's gotta
fucking
take
kicked out of
credit.
Westside.
Yeah.
Oh, did he? Why?
Because he's a turd burglar. Because have you ever met him before?
No.
Yeah, you would know why.
Oh, he
then.
was when we went to his gym. Like he was super nice there. Ed was with us. But
Well, he was nice, but well, it was also, let me tell you about me.
let me tell you about the winning warm-ups, bro.
Let me show you these machines I invented. You didn't. You ripped them off
No,
from
you
everybody else.
stole
I did
them.
rip them off from everybody else and made them way more expensive.
I knew you didn't like him from when didn't he come out with a belt squat and you're like, oh,
Yeah.
you were talking all kinds of shit.
Yeah, and he fucking dogged the elite one. He's like, oh, those cable ones are trash. And this
Oh,
and
you mean
that,
you stole
blah,
the
blah.
design and like
And then
just
that
changed
fuck
it
that
slightly?
that tricep bench we have here, Westside had one, and so does the elite for like 1,000,000 years. And he was like, oh, I invented. No, you didn't. And yours sucks anyway.
I mean, there's all kinds of people that have benefited off of Louis and Westside. I mean, where do you think the slingshot came from?
Oh, I know. When I was out there, I was like, what do you think of slingshot? He's like, we used a mini band.
Yeah, I mean that's where it started. I mean that's people just use bands.
I mean, I
And
always tell
then-
people, like, I knew a guy one time. He was like, oh, I don't really like Louis, and I was like, but you like Dave Tate? He's like, yeah. I go, but you know, if there
Dave
wasn't
Tate,
Louis Simmons, there wouldn't have been Dave Tate.
Right. Louis Simmons like made all that stuff possible.
Yeah.
Dave Tate is enjoyable to listen to, and he's I don't know. Is there something?
Oh, I like Dave.
is there
He's-
something
Dave's-
about- yeah.
Dave has a story of before he got his hip replaced. Right? It's like the day before he's going to get his hip replaced. He's like, fuck it. I'm getting my hip replaced. I'm never going to be able to squat heavy again. So he just shows up.
He does squat still to like a 40-inch box.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like me and Ron. But he shows up to squat with like the group and just fucking squats his ass off, does all the drugs he can to like just to make it through the workout because he's like, I'm not going to be able to do this again. He is just in miserable, dire pain that entire night. He gets up to go to the bathroom and he has to like hobble sideways and like hold on to the wall. And his dog fucking took a shit in the hallway. And so he slips on this dog shit with a bad hip and lands in a pile of dog shit. And his hip is so bad, like he can't get up. So he's trying to like wiggle his way up and wake his wife up. And he's just rolling around in dog shit on the floor because his hip hurts so bad.
This sounds like something that would happen to you.
Yeah. And that dog would be dead.
I mean, yours would be chicken shit. And you could do
No.
nothing because
There was a story.
chickens.
You were just had a story a little while ago about Uric shitting in the house. I can't remember what the context was of it though. You
does?
got up in the morning and you're like, "What is that?"
Yeah. Well,
And then
like,
Matt never gets injured, so this couldn't possibly
Yeah.
happen to
Never.
Matt.
No.
Yeah, yeah.
No, I have stepped in dog shit before in the house. That's unpleasant.
Yeah, there's nothing like that.
I did it the other day.
Especially if you're not wearing shoes, you know, it just goes between your toes.
I did it the other day. I was like, what is that?
Yeah.
I was like, that was kind of cold.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's. Well, then I came back from a work trip. Erin was leaving the next morning, so like I got in super late. She left in the morning. I didn't know that she had locked his doggy door the day before to like keep him in that night.
Oh, so he's just in
And
there
so I'm just
fucking-
like, whatever. Because I mean, he's the super independent. I just put food in his bowl, and he's got a water thing outside. Like he's good. So I don't really pay attention. And so I let him out front a couple times with the other dogs and stuff. And then I get up one morning, I'm like, fucking smells like shit in here. Like, which one of you dickheads shit in the house? So I'm looking for all the dogs upstairs because I'm like, oh, he can go outside. There's no way he did it. No poop upstairs. I'm like, what the fuck? And I go downstairs and I'm walking down the stairs like, that's fucking shit. Turn on the light, and there's like 4 giant piles of dog shit, a huge pile of piss over here, and I'm like, what the fuck? And that's when I go and I figure out that the doggy door is closed for 3 days.
You're an asshole.
Poor fucking dude. Can't even be mad at him for that. It's
Yeah, you're a
100%
real
our
piece of
fault.
shit. That's.
Yeah, 100%.
I'm surprised the Humane Society didn't come out.
They
Wow,
should've.
Matt, nothing like paying attention to detail. There could have been some dude sitting on your couch and you'd be like, oh,
That's what I like about you, Lois. Your eye for detail.
Yeah, as long as he stays downstairs, I'm fine. Yeah. There's stuff in the fridge. You can do whatever you want. It's fine. Yeah.
So yeah, speed work is important.
thought we were going to talk about protein intake too. Matt
Yeah,
cited a
apparently there's
study
some kind
before
of
this.
study update on this protein shenanigans.
It is. It's actually a meta study from 2022. But so the main one, I don't remember.
Did they have the COVID vaccines?
Yeah.
Okay.
Nah, they all would have had heart attacks.
So the main one that gets cited is from 2017. It's a meta study for some 55 different studies. It's been cited 1,200, 1,300 times, but it's like the one that people go to. And they always reference 0.8 grams of protein per pound of body weight is like the upper end. You start to get beyond that, even for a trained or an untrained person, not much benefit. There is one that's really not well known from 2022 that also had roughly 45, 50 studies that were part of this meta study. And when you account for some of the variables as far as trained, untrained, control group, non-control group, you're left with probably 22, 23 studies that are like all have the same factors and everything in there. And in that one, coming out for a trained individual or someone who is training, the recommendation from there is that 1 to 1.3 grams of protein per pound of body weight yields a roughly 40% benefit over 0.8 grams per pound of body weight.
40% is a lot.
40% is huge. Now,
Yeah.
the one thing is that they don't have, there's no differentiators to say like 1 versus 1.3 is worse or better. It's just like in that general range, like there's a definitive cutoff or at least a large enough differential when you hit 1 up to 1.3 that gives you this benefit.
I think this has been a talking point for a long time because it used to be lean body mass. Like, who really knows what that is, right?
Right.
Like, I mean, an average person doesn't know what your lean body mass is.
Right. And
So everybody just
that's
went off your
One
weight.
of the questions when
Yeah.
I was reading on this or listening to it, that was the question was asked. Like, so should we be using like lean body mass or whatever? And it said that study did not, those studies, when you look at them, did not take into account lean body mass.
So it's just body
It
weight
took into
overall.
body weight overall. Now, I think if you were to extrapolate and use a little common sense, like if you are at 50% body fat, like maybe using total body weight isn't good, right? Because the fat's not really doing anything for you. And again, it's still relative to your total caloric intake, right?
Yeah, I would say if you're at 50%, if you're at like a 50% body fat, I'm sure your weight is high. So your protein
Right.
intake is going to be, if you go off of that formula, your protein intake is probably going to be above your calorie limit for you to lose weight,
Right. Like,
most
so you,
likely.
Yeah. So you start looking at your protein intake and it's still like you still have the calories are king when it comes to like your weight going up and down, right? So if you are trying to gain weight or gain muscle, you need a surplus. But if your surplus is like if your maintenance is 2,500 and your surplus is 3,000, and now you start targeting 1.3 grams of protein versus your 0.8, that extra 0.5 grams of protein per pound over the day comes out of your 3,000 calorie total. It's not like you get to sit at 3,000 and you're like, oh, now I get to add an extra 0.5 grams of protein per pound of
Now
body
you have
weight
to adjust.
on top of that, right? So I don't go from 3,000 to 3,500. No. My calorie intake to continue to gain is now 3,000. But if I bump my protein up, I either can bring down fat and carbs in some combination and should yield more lean mass gaining by doing that.
It's not easy to eat that much protein. I'm going to be honest, because before I was injured, I was always tracking my food. And for me, at 190 pounds, to eat 190 grams, it's not easy. Like, you have to really plan it out. You would think it's not that hard. No, it's not that easy either. It's not easy to eat that much. And if you weigh more than that, I mean, it's a lot of protein.
Yeah, like I'm not throwing down 390 grams of protein.
You weigh 390?
No, 300.
Well, I guess, yeah, if you're doing the
If you're
0.3,
doing-
I guess.
Yeah, if you're doing the whole thing, right? If I go
Yeah.
up to 1.3, I'm like,
Yeah, that's a lot of that. Yeah.
that's a lot of fucking protein.
You look like
My-
that's
my shit
almost
would just
1,600
increase.
calories of protein.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah, I mean, I think for the average female, especially if you're going to hit 100 grams, it's a good start.
Right.
Yeah.
And so that's
And the average male, if you can get like 150, it's probably a good start.
right. And that they
150 is still not easy. I mean,
Well, and but they were just talking.
No.
But yeah, and
Yeah.
if you back that off, and so they talked a little bit about the not necessarily the untrained, but the non-training athlete. So if you're not looking to make changes, you're not looking to grow, you're not looking to make any changes. You're just like, hey, I just want to
continue to be me.
continue to be me,
Yeah.
and eat a pretty well. Like 0.8, great. Like keep doing 0.8, like target for that. This was specific to if you are looking to grow and add lean mass, 1.1 to 1.3 should be kind of your new target.
Let's be honest. All of us on this end of the table, besides Derek, because he's 12 years old.
Oh shit, 2017. I was like, shit,
2017. That's crazy.
Going on 45.
Yeah.
29, 49.
29, 49. Yeah.
Either way.
We're probably not going to be gaining a whole lot of muscle just off eating protein at our age. Let's be honest. I would be surprised. I mean, if yeah. I mean, there's probably going to be some supplementation that has to be involved for anybody to make some massive muscular changes in their mid 40s. I'm not saying it's not possible, depending on genetics and stuff like that, but it's definitely going to be a lot harder than if you're in your 20s.
Yes.
Yeah,
Awesome.
true.
Age is definitely working against you.
The plus 50 or plus 55, maybe it was up to 60. Like the recommendation for eating more protein per pound of body weight actually goes up just a little bit because your body's just not as good at it, right? Your protein synthesis is lower. We'll say anabolic window just because people understand what that is. But like when you train and you finish training, your protein synthesis window spikes, right? So your ability to use that goes up. And then it'll taper off eventually. The older you get, the smaller that window, that gap is. So like to just throw down a shitload of protein, like it's just not as efficient.
Some people may not know what the anabolic window is,
That's your immediate time after working out. How long or
The window of gain,
which is also
how long the window is
which
open
is
has not really been
also
scientifically
been-
proven yet.
Oh, I
Shut
was just
your
going to say,
mouth.
there's also been a big point of contention on when you're supposed to take your protein intake after you work out. Before you work, it seems like it changes all the time.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
getting food and protein in, I think there's probably a higher benefit, and this is like the one time that Tanner the Head might contribute half a sentence that's worthwhile. But like post workout
Vaccines.
is definitely when you should do all your vaccines.
Yeah.
but like your insulin sensitivity is better, so like you can refuel, you can have higher carbs, you can do some of that post training. But I mean, really, if you just took your protein and spread it out over the whole course of the day, like
I think another thing that needs to be brought into the equation is if you're a professional athlete, what kind of person you are. I think all that stuff kind of equates into that formula of when your anabolic window is. If you're just a regular person,
Dude.
your anabolic window is probably not something you need to worry about.
yeah,
let's be honest.
unless you
I
can
mean,
get the OG dark matter and just crush that post workout, like it's not worth it.
Dude, I thought I was going to pass out.
That shit. So the OG dark matter and the
there's a reason why it's
Torrent.
OG because it's illegal now.
Dude, torrent,
why.
like if I drank into that torrent, I had at most 30 minutes to eat real food.
And that green apple was
before I
so
would
good.
fucking diabetic crash. It
And it-
fucking was like sweats and chills and shakes. And
I did the same thing with dark matter. I remember taking it and I was like going home doing stuff. All of a sudden I started like shaking and I felt like lightheaded.
I feel real bad. I need to eat. Yeah.
There's a story of one of the guys laying on the floor at a gas station eating candy bars. I don't know if it's true or not.
I believe it.
Knowing him, I 100% believe it.
Yeah.
I'll pay for these when I'm done.
Yeah. So unless
Leave me alone.
add it to my bill, I don't want to die.
He probably had a charge account at the gas station.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, the window gains, but as far as like overall protein,
Just try to get more protein. If you think you have enough, probably get more.
Yeah.
As for an average person, now like Matt's saying, that's like if you want to be a specimen, you probably need to get that.
right. And
At
the other thing to take into
1.3.
account is like if you're throwing down 1.3 grams of protein per pound of body weight, like what else are you doing to? If you're doing that, you should be like optimizing everything else. Like if your sleep is shit and you're not training out, like it's all right, cool. It's not going to be the best. This is like when you have everything in line and you're trying to optimize it and you're trying to like grow.
Do you have a stressful life? Is there something in your life that's bothering you?
Right.
You need to reduce your stress along with
You're
getting
good enough.
1.3.
You're smart enough, and doggone it, people like you.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
So the big takeaways is speed work and protein.
And apparently, according to Chris, drugs if you're older.
Yes, increase all three.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
I just don't
more
think that
protein.
you're going to make a lot of massive gains at the ages in your 40s and 50s. Just
If you're an
off
untrained
going
individual.
from if you're untrained, okay. If you're untrained, yes. If you just start working out in your 40s and you start taking 1.3 grams of protein per body weight, you're obviously going to see some gains. But like everyone that's been training for 10, 15 years and you're 45 years old and you're like, man, I'll tell you what, when I switched from 0.8 to 0.3, total game changer.
Yeah.
Probably not going to happen.
But when I switched from
I could be wrong.
when I switched
could
from
be wrong.
0.8 to TRT,
I stopped measuring in grams, now it's milligrams.
yeah.
So we're good.
But yeah, if, just try to increase your protein. Like I said, for the average female, if you can get close to 100, if the male, you can get close to
300.
between 100 and 150.
300.
You're probably doing pretty solid. And then kind of let your calories fill in from there. You're probably going to do okay.
Good luck at the grocery store with that.
Yeah, you're going to have to drink protein shakes
300 grams of protein.
that you can purchase at Elite Nutrition.
Wait, don't be he's not.
You'll be
he's not
free, you got a
even
free
here.
shaker.
Or here at the gym, you can
Yeah,
get a
exactly.
nice, you get a nice Core Power 42 gram protein shake afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
Best prices in town.
What was the other one? The ABB
Didn't you
42?
just raised the prices too, didn't you?
You had to be, they're like $4. They're like $5 at the grocery store.
Aren't they like $5.50 at
Maybe.
QT or something?
ABB's out of business, by the way. I did not know that. They do not exist anymore. American bodybuilding drinks are no more. That cooler I had was like a limited edition.
True. What was the? So did they come in a 35 or what was the one that you didn't have that everyone asked for?
Well, it had like a, no, I think it was well, they had a 35 and like a, was it a 50?
Maybe.
But there was always like a flavor or something. Somebody always, but all the protein stuck to the bottom of those things anyway. No one even got
Because
it.
they were like, because it was like, don't shake before you open it, but shake before you drink it. You're like, what?
Yeah, because it was somehow carbonated protein.
Yeah.
That's why they went out of business because no one could understand the label.
But they had metal bottles.
And they had the extreme speed stacks.
Once again,
Yeah.
metal bottle. I'm sure
Or
that's
no.
not very
Wasn't
cost
it
effective.
wasn't it the extreme rip force that had the ephedra in it?
Maybe. I just remember the speed stacks.
I used to drink like 2 speed stacks in or turbo tea in a day, and that's like a gram of protein or a gram
If
of
no one's our
caffeine.
age, Derek probably doesn't even know what ephedra is.
Ephedrine? Yeah, absolutely.
No.
Like
They
no,
used to have it in the
Which
what
one's
was
the-
that
what-
weight loss pill? They used to have it in
Fen-Phen.
Walmart.
what was the
at
bad?
Walmart, hydroxycut?
Hydroxycut. Yeah.
What
yeah.
was the bad one? There was ephedrine and ephedra. They went from ephedrine to ephedra,
I thought ephedrine
Wasn't like-
was the.
or was it vice
supplement,
versa?
And ephedrine is like the Sudafed.
Because what's the one that didn't really work? That was just kind of a hype. Was that the ephedra?
Ephedra?
Yeah.
Ephedrine was the one that like
The meth.
you'd sweat as soon as you take it.
Remember the Jack 3D? Then everybody got hepatitis from it.
What?
Really?
Yeah, Jack 3D. A bunch of
Yeah.
people in Hawaii got hepatitis. Which whatever.
How do you get
Some
hepatitis?
Jack
Hawaii
3D.
thing.
There was a recall. We had to send it back.
I remember like Jack 3D came out and it had like the black label warning, and people were like, "Oh my god!" Like
The whole thing was just a black
you
label.
could death. And I'm like, "It's not gonna die. Come on." Well, maybe you could.
Anything's possible.
Yeah, who'd have thought you got the hep?
Yeah, those
That
are the
is
good old
crazy.
days, though.
Yeah, but it was like in Hawaii, like 3 people got hepatitis. And they're like, oh, recall.
Yeah, more stimulants. That's what we need.
Yeah. All right. Well, yeah. There's your notes from today: speed work and protein,
Yeah.
and sippy cups for Matt. Anything else?
When's the next meet here at Omaha Barbell?
May 10th. The Ed Cohen first ever super meet, strongman powerlifting, same time.
Hell yes.
It's gonna happen. It's gonna be rad. Sign-ups will be out after the first of the year.
There it is.
35 lifters max.
Yep.
15 strongman max.
Here's your chance to come tear your bicep on one of 2 elephant bars in the country.
Here's your chance to come meet the B3 podcast members.
Yep.
We'll all be here, hopefully.
Get a free shaker.
And
We're
if
not
you
talking
care to
about
meet
what-
Ed, I
Oh
guess
yeah,
he'll be here
Ed'll
too.
Ed'll be here too. I mean, we'll have to put him in the back because the crowd will be so crazy when we come in. You know.
Yeah.
All right, and if anybody wants to say hi to Ed, he's over there.
You should make him a shirt that just says "I'm Ed Cohen," like just white shirt.
Just
black
what do you think we should just get him like a wheelchair to take him from judging the powerlifting to outside
No,
to watching
not
the
a wheelchair. You got to
strongman?
give him like a hover round.
like a rascal.
It's like a little.
Yes.
We'll just go to Walmart and fuck. We need to borrow this.
What's Christopher Reeve? What do you think he did with his chair?
Oh, the blow and go.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I thought that was a girl.
Maybe
His chair? Don't
No, the blow and go.
don't. How dare you? Don't identify. I mean, how would you?
Don't
Yeah,
insult Superman like
How
that.
dare you?
Was that Chris Rock? Superman can't even fucking walk.
Yeah, because you can fly.
No, what's next? The Hulk gonna get gout?
All right, guys. We appreciate you listening. Like, subscribe, share, follow. We'll see you next time.